you were to go maybe to the government office today or to the department, the one that's in the Deputy Prime Minister's office, the one dealing with children, they may not actually have that full context. So when they are drafting their budget, they may not be thinking about all those issues. When they are even coming up with policy, they may not really be thinking about all those issues, because government is also constrained in terms of going out to all the places across the country to hear these issues. But we as CSOs have that opportunity to do that. So we need to use that information. Remember that process I put up there, where we are saying let's use evidence-based advocacy to draw up our positions and be able to come up with policy papers that we can present to whoever is the key policy maker in that regard. Laws are supposed to be aligned to the Constitution, isn't it? So whatever piece of legislation is coming, it is an effort to align the laws to the Constitution. So as CSOs, obviously we want to see laws being aligned to the Constitution. So the key things coming out, I think, which we need to really concretize the action plan and see how the CSOs around the table can then coordinate their approach, is the issue of birth registration.
Is serious, particularly with what is happening in our societies, that we have dysfunctional families. Not dysfunctional out of choice, but dysfunctional out of the societal ills that we are facing. For example, you have children whose guardians are their grandparents, very old people who themselves are not documented and do not have the necessary documentation to prove their relationship to their child, and this makes it difficult for those children to be registered. And then we have the issue of children that are born from foreigners with Swazi mothers, and the failure to register those children in their father's surnames renders them stateless, because in their own father's countries they will not be recognized, and in our own country they're not recognized as well, because their fathers are not their fathers are not present in their lives. So what we talked about is the fact that there are different policies across the departments under the same ministry. For example, a child that perhaps would be registered by the Home Affairs Department, where the registration happens, and they would be assigned a nationality and said Swazi. But if that child wants to now obtain other services, for example, to get a passport, it becomes a problem, because at the immigration office then they begin interrogating the nationality of both parents, and if it is found that the nationality of the father is a foreigner, then they refuse to give their child a passport because it is deemed that the child is not Swazi, even if their birth certificate can assign them the nationality of Swazis. So what we discussed in terms of policies is that there are loopholes and there are gaps between policies. There are conflicts between the policies under the same ministry, and therefore these have to be looked at, reviewed, and to be aligned to each other and aligned with the Constitution. And of course, the Constitution doesn't allow a woman to pass citizenship to her child if she's married to a foreigner, and that is another issue of review that we need to look at, so that we cannot deprive children of their nationality because of the fact that their mothers are married to foreigners.
As we consider what to do about birth registration, what I picked up was that there were policy issues, isn't it? There are policy issues around the actual regulations and the general policy around how birth registration is done.